All right, get ready to climb. Today we're taking a deep dive into Slay the Spire. But hold on, not the video game. We're talking about the board game adaptation.
Yeah, cardboard and everything.
So if you're thinking about picking this up, or you're just curious how the digital Spire translates to the tabletop, stick with us. We're going to crack open this rulebook and see what's inside.
I've got my rule book right here, too.
Yeah, I'm flipping through it now, and I gotta say, it's pretty darn thorough.
It's a hefty one, yeah.
First things first, character choices.
Yeah.
It looks like they've got the Ironclad and the Silent listed as the easier starting points.
Right.
Then there's the Defect, which bumps up the difficulty.
A little bit more challenging, yeah.
And the Watcher, well, it sounds like the Watcher's the final boss of complexity.
Definitely the most intricate.
So for anyone who's played the video game, does this difficulty ranking match up with your experience? Let us know. But, even for a newbie like me, picking a character is about more than just how hard it is. It's about finding a play style that really clicks.
Finding your groove.
Okay, now this next bit is what really sets Slay the Spire apart from a lot of other deck builders. Get this. It's a cooperative game.
Oh, yeah. That's a fun twist.
You're not fighting each other. You're working together to conquer the Spire as a team.
Working together.
Now, I'm used to deck builders where it's all about, outsmarting your opponents. So how does that actually work strategically when you're cooperating?
Well, you have to think about how your deck can support your teammates. You're not just hoarding powerful cards for yourself.
Yeah, you're not being greedy.
Right, exactly. Maybe you're focusing on defense or, becoming the healer, or you specialize in buffing up your allies.
So it's more about synergy than cutthroat competition.
Exactly. It's about creating a team engine that can overcome those challenges you couldn't face alone.
Okay, that has me intrigued. But before we get too deep into gameplay, I got to ask about this. They mentioned a companion app. It's optional, but it's got a searchable rulebook, the game's soundtrack, the whole card library.
Yeah, all the digital bells and whistles.
For those of us who maybe don't always love digging through the physical rulebook mid-game.
I mean, some people like to have that physical book in their hands.
I feel that.
But yeah, it caters to both, for sure.
So listener, what about you? Do you prefer the weight of a rulebook, or are you all about that digital life?
Let us know.
Okay, back to the rulebook. They estimate each act of the game takes about 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's about right.
Which, for me, that's a sweet spot. Not too short, not too long.
And keep in mind, this is a roguelike. Every game is different, You've got random encounters, events, you're discovering new loot every time.
Yeah, so even with a longer play time, the replayability is really baked in.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I'm looking at the components section, and my jaw just dropped. Over 380 player cards. Whoa!
That's a lot of cards.
That's a lot of deck building possibilities.
And those cards are divided into different categories, too. Attacks for dealing damage, skills for, doing skillful things.
I like that description.
Powers for those lasting effects. And then, of course, curses, which are not fun.
Yeah, curses are never fun. But I'm guessing just knowing the card types isn't enough. There's a deeper level of strategy here, right?
Absolutely. You're not just randomly playing cards. You're crafting a deck, an engine designed to overcome the Spire's challenges.
So you've got to think about synergy, right? Choosing cards that combo off each other and create a cohesive strategy.
That's the heart of it.
But hold on, there's also this whole thing about status and daze cards, right?
Oh, yeah. Those can throw a wrench in your plans.
They weaken your deck during combat, don't they?
Think of them as debuffs. They can make you vulnerable, make it harder to draw the cards you need.
So you need to be adaptable and have ways to deal with those nasty effects.
Survival in the Spire demands flexibility.
All right, I'm dying to jump into the actual gameplay, but I think we'll save that for part 2.
We've got a lot more to cover.
But before we move on, listener, what's grabbing your attention so far? The cooperative element, the sheer number of cards. What's piqued your curiosity? Let us know.
Okay, so let's dive into the heart of Slay the Spire, the gameplay itself.
Yeah, the rulebook goes into a lot of detail here.
There's a lot to unpack.
Okay, one term keeps popping up. Exhaust. Seems like a pretty fundamental concept.
It is. It's like using up a resource. You get one use out of a card, and then it's gone for the fight.
Boof.
Gone. So you got to choose your moments carefully. Do you save a powerful card for a boss, or use it now to, avoid some damage?
Ooh, that adds some tension to every decision.
Definitely. And then we have retain. Some cards get bonuses if you hold on to them instead of discarding them.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's almost like you're setting up combos for future turns.
Exactly. You can unleash some pretty powerful combinations if you play your cards.
Ooh, I like that. And then there's Scry. What's Scry all about?
That lets you peek at the top cards of your deck and manipulate what you draw.
So you can, ditch those pesky curses or make sure you draw that crucial card you need.
Exactly. It's all about controlling your fate. A little bit, at least.
Okay, so we've got exhaust, retain, scry, all these little mechanics that add a layer of strategy to every card you play. And speaking of things that can mess with your plans, we got to talk about status effects.
Oh, yeah. Like vulnerable and weak?
Right. Vulnerable makes enemies take double damage from attacks.
Right.
While weak reduces the damage they deal.
So they can really turn the tide of battle if you use them at the right time.
Yeah, and don't forget, both players, A&D enemies, can be affected by these status effects.
That's right. It's a back and forth.
A strategic dance.
Now, the rulebook goes into a lot of detail about combat rounds, player turns, enemy turns. But one thing that really jumped out at me was that all players act simultaneously.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It keeps things moving quickly.
And it also forces you to, to talk to each other and coordinate your attack.
Oh, yeah. You gotta be on the same page.
Teamwork. Teamwork.
Speaking of enemies, the rulebook lists all sorts of different enemy action types. You've got single actions, die actions, cube actions. Some seem more predictable than others.
Yes, some enemies look like they're going to keep you guessing.
Definitely. Knowing your enemy is key to survival.
Figure out their patterns. Exploit their weaknesses.
And then there are summons. Some enemies can call in reinforcements.
Oh, great. More enemies.
Yeah, just what you wanted. It can definitely shake things up.
Forces you to prioritize targets.
Sometimes the best strategy is to just take out the summoner as quickly as possible.
Cut off the head of the snake.
Exactly. Adaptability is key in Slay the Spire.
Be prepared for anything.
Now let's talk loot. We've got gold, potions, cards, relics. How does all that work?
Ooh, the good stuff.
Well, every enemy card has a reward section.
Yeah.
It tells you what you get for defeating it.
So it's not just about defeating enemies. It's about kicking your battles strategically.
For sure. And the rewards vary. You might get gold, potions, new cards for your deck, or even rare relics that give you special abilities.
Oh, I love relics. And I see something called golden tickets. What are those?
Those are special rewards. Imagine you're drafting cards and boom, you get a golden ticket.
Like winning the lottery.
Kind of. You get to choose a card from your rare rewards deck. So you might get some really powerful cards that you wouldn't normally have access to.
Ooh, that's exciting. And I see some cards can be upgraded.
Upgrading is important. If you want to keep up with the Spire's challenges,
Make those cards even more powerful.
upgrades often add new effects, increase damage, or make cards more efficient.
Like sharpening your sword before a big fight.
And for those who like to play solo, they've included rules for solo play too.
Nice.
So whether you're playing with friends or by yourself, Slay the Spire has got you covered.
I love that flexibility. Okay, let's move on to the map.
Hmm?
Looks like it's more than just battling monsters. We've got encounters, elites, events, campfires, even a merchant. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure path to the top.
You're not just fighting, you're making choices every step of the way.
Weighing your options.
Do you risk a tough encounter for better loot? Or do you play it safe and conserve your energy?
And I keep seeing that burning elite. The one that guards the key to Act 4, but also gives you that nasty curse.
The classic risk-reward dilemma.
Do you go for the key and maybe weaken your deck? Or do you play it safe and miss out on that whole section of the Spire?
Tough choices.
I know. And then there are events, like little mini-stories that pop up along the way.
Right? Sometimes they offer rewards or bonuses. Other times, they force you to make tough choices that could affect your whole run.
Keeps things interesting.
And of course, no self-respecting roguelike would be complete without a merchant.
Gotta love a good shop.
Stock up on potions, maybe snag a new relic.
Tempting.
Always tempting.
Okay, I'm really impressed with how much depth they've packed into this board game. It's not just about combat. It's about making strategic decisions every step of the way.
Definitely.
And for those who really want to push themselves, there's the Ascension system, right?
Oh, yeah. Ascension is for the hardcore players.
It makes the game even harder.
It adds modifiers that really test your skills.
So it's like the expert mode for Slay the Spire.
Exactly. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more replayable, they throw in achievements and a daily climb mode.
Wow, so even after you've mastered the game, there's still more to explore.
That's right. There's always something new to discover in Slay the Spire.
All right. Let's shift gears and talk about the characters themselves. Because each character has unique mechanics and cards that really change how you play the game.
Yeah, they each have their own unique flavor.
So, tell me, which hero of the Spire are you drawn to? Okay, let's meet these Spire heroes. Each one brings their own unique style to the table. First up, the Ironclad, our fiery warrior friend.
All about hitting hard, yeah.
They don't mess around. From what I'm seeing in the rulebook, strength and exhaust are kind of their keywords.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter.
So break those down for me. What do those mean for the Ironclad?
Strength, it's like a damage multiplier. It boosts their attack power, lets them really dish out the pain. And remember, exhaust, a lot of their most powerful cards, well, they exhaust after use, so gotta be strategic about when you play them.
You can't just go all out all the time.
Gotta manage those resources carefully. It's a balancing act.
Risk versus reward.
Exactly. Now, if you prefer a more subtle approach, maybe the silent is more your style.
Ah, yes, the stealthy rogue.
All about poison and shivs,
Death by 1,000 cuts.
basically. They chip away at the enemy's health slowly but surely.
So it's less about brute force and more about, careful planning.
Definitely. The silent is for players who enjoy that tactical approach, thinking a few steps ahead.
Now, the defect, they sound pretty interesting. The tech-savvy automaton.
The defects, they're all about manipulating orbs.
Orbs.
Yeah, they can channel different types of orbs to get all sorts of effects. Damage, blocking, drawing cards, generating resources.
So it's like a puzzle.
In a way, yeah. You got to figure out the best way to use those orbs, create combos, optimize your turns.
Sounds complex.
They're definitely a challenging character, but mastering their mechanics is super rewarding.
A high-skill ceiling, huh?
For sure. And then we have the Watcher, our enigmatic mystic friend.
The Watcher. They use stances, right?
That's right. Each stance gives them unique abilities and effects.
So they can adapt to different situations.
Exactly. They can switch between offense and defense depending on what they need.
Sounds pretty dynamic.
They're a high-risk, high-reward character. To really master the Watcher, you got to really understand their mechanics.
I'm getting a little overwhelmed, just thinking about all the possibilities.
It's a lot to take in, but that's the beauty of Slay the Spire. Each character offers a completely different way to play.
We haven't even talked about relics.
Oh, yeah, relics add another layer of customization. They grant unique abilities that can really enhance your playstyle.
It's like getting a special power-up.
Exactly.
Okay, before we wrap up, I found one last thing in the rulebook I just got to mention. They have a golden rule.
Ah, yes, the golden rule. Important stuff.
And in Slay the Spire, it's this. Whenever a card's text contradicts the rules, the card text takes precedence.
Makes
So
sense.
the cards themselves are the ultimate authority.
It allows for some really unique effects and interactions.
Sometimes you just got to let the cards guide you.
Embrace the chaos.
Well, I think we've climbed to the peak of Slay the Spire knowledge. What a deep dive this has been.
We've covered a lot of ground.
So listener, are you ready to tackle the Spire yourself?
We hope we've given you a good understanding of what makes this game so special.
The cooperative gameplay, the deck building, the roguelike elements, the amazing artwork.
It's truly a unique gaming experience.
Whether you're a veteran of the video game or a complete newbie, this board game offers a fresh way to experience the challenge and the thrill of the Spire.
And it's a testament to the strength of the original design that it translates so well to a different medium.
Absolutely. So as you prepare for your own Spire-slaying adventures, we leave you with this final thought. Which character will you choose? What kind of deck will you build?
What strategies will you use to overcome the Spire's many challenges?
The possibilities are endless. The journey is yours to shape. So go forth and conquer, brave adventurer.
And may your climb be filled with exciting encounters and brilliant deck-building moments.
Until next time, may your decks be strong and your relics plentiful.